Captain Lee Dong-wook stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the stars. His ship was called the Harmony's Edge. It was a peaceful ship, not made for war. Like all human ships, it was built to explore and help others. For 150 years, humans had been part of the big galaxy family. They always tried to solve problems with words, not weapons. Lee Dong-wook was a good captain. He had short black hair and kind eyes. He wore the blue uniform of the human diplomatic service. His job was to keep peace between different alien races. He was very good at his job because humans were known as the best peacekeepers in the galaxy. This day, something was wrong. Very wrong. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Choi Min-ah. She was his second in command. Min-ah had long black hair tied back and serious dark eyes. "We just got a message from New Busan colony." Then the message stopped. New Busan was a human colony on a planet far from Earth. 50,000 humans lived there. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, and their families. They had children who played in the gardens and went to school every day. "What kind of message?" Lee Dong-wook asked. "A distress call," Min-ah said. Her voice was quiet. Then nothing. No more signals. No more communication. Lee Dong-wook felt cold inside. When a colony went silent, it usually meant something very bad had happened. "Set course for New Busan," he ordered. "Maximum speed." The Harmony's Edge flew through space faster than light. It took 3 days to reach the colony planet. During those 3 days, Lee Dong-wook tried to contact New Busan many times. No one answered. When they arrived, Lee Dong-wook saw something that would change everything. The colony was destroyed. Buildings were burned. The beautiful gardens where children played were now black and empty. The school was a pile of broken stones. Dr. Kim Tae-ho was the ship's doctor and scientist. He was a thin man with glasses who studied alien cultures. He came to the bridge with a tablet in his hands. His face was very pale. "Captain," Dr. Kim said, "I found the colony's last recording." "Show me," Lee Dong-wook said. The screen showed the inside of a building. Families were hiding together. Parents held their children close. Everyone looked scared. Then the door broke open. Alien soldiers came in. They had gray skin and red eyes. They wore black armor and carried energy weapons. These were Vorthak soldiers. The Vorthak were a warrior race that believed only the strong should live. They thought other races were weak and should serve them or die. On the screen, the Vorthak leader spoke in his harsh language. Dr. Kim translated the words. "This planet belongs to the Vorthak now. You humans are weak. You die today." Lee Dong-wook watched as the energy weapons fired. He watched as innocent people fell. He watched as children cried for their parents. He watched until the recording ended. The bridge was very quiet. Everyone had seen what happened. 50,000 humans were dead, murdered, for no reason except that the Vorthak wanted their planet. "Captain," said the communications officer, "Admiral Park So-young wants to speak with you." Admiral Park So-young appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been in the human fleet for 40 years. She was one of the most respected officers in human space. "Dong-wook," she said, "I know what you found. I'm sorry." "Admiral, we need to respond," Lee Dong-wook said. "They killed everyone. Children, families, innocent people." "I know," Admiral Park said. "I'm calling all human ships back to Earth. We're going to the Galactic Council. We will demand justice." The Galactic Council was where all the alien races met to solve problems. It was on a space station near the center of the galaxy. Representatives from hundreds of different species worked there to keep peace. Lee Dong-wook flew to the council station with a heavy heart. He brought the recording of what happened at New Busan. He thought the council would be angry. He thought they would help humans get justice for the murdered colonists. He was wrong. The council chamber was huge and round. Hundreds of aliens sat in seats that went up to the ceiling. There were insect-like beings, creatures that looked like walking trees, and many others. In the center was a platform where speakers could talk to everyone. Lee Dong-wook stood on that platform. He played the recording of the massacre. He showed the council what the Vorthak had done. When it was over, he spoke. 50,000 innocent humans are dead, he said. They were murdered by Vorthak soldiers. This was not war. This was genocide. The Galactic Council must act. The council leader was a tall blue alien called Zethra. He had 4 arms and spoke in a voice like music. But his words were not kind. Captain Lee, Zethra said, what happened at New Busan is regrettable. But the Vorthak claim that planet was in their territory. They say humans had no right to be there. That's a lie, Lee Dong-wook said. New Busan was a legal colony. We had all the proper documents. The Vorthak disagree, said another council member. This one looked like a giant spider. They say humans invaded their space. So you will do nothing? Lee Dong-wook asked. He could not believe what he was hearing. We will start diplomatic talks, Zethra said. These things take time. We must be careful not to start a war. Lee Dong-wook felt something break inside him. For 150 years, humans had kept peace in the galaxy. They had stopped wars between other races. They had shared their technology and knowledge. They had been patient and kind, even when others were not. And now, when humans needed help, the council did nothing. You call the murder of 50,000 people regrettable, Lee Dong-wook said. His voice was very quiet, but everyone could hear him. You say we must pursue diplomatic channels with murderers. He looked around the chamber at all the alien faces. Some looked away. They were ashamed but too afraid to speak up. For 150 years we have been your peacekeepers, Lee Dong-wook continued. We have stopped your wars. We have saved your people. We have been patient when you were not. We have been kind when you were cruel. His voice got louder. Today you ask us to accept genocide as diplomacy. You ask us to let child killers go free because you are afraid of them. Lee Dong-wook stood up straight. His eyes were like fire. You have gravely misunderstood what human patience means, he said. You think it means we are weak. You think it means we cannot fight. You are wrong. He turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, he stopped and looked back. We tried to be your friends, he said. We tried to be your protectors. Today, you have chosen to be something else. So will we. Lee Dong-wook left the council chamber. Behind him, the aliens whispered nervously. They had never seen a human so angry. They did not understand what they had just done. They did not understand that they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. As Lee Dong-wook walked to his ship, he sent a message to Admiral Park So-young. It was very short. The council will not help us, he said. It's time for Protocol Omega. Admiral Park's reply was even shorter. Understood. It begins. Across human space, secret signals started to move. Hidden facilities began to wake up. Plans that had been sleeping for 150 years started to move. The galaxy was about to learn why humans had really chosen peace, and why that choice was ending. Admiral Park So-young sat in her office on Earth and looked at a red button on her desk. For 40 years she had hoped she would never have to press it. The button was connected to Protocol Omega, the most secret plan in human history. She pressed the button. Across the galaxy, hidden messages began to move. On Earth, deep underground, massive doors opened for the first time in 150 years. Inside were shipyards that no alien had ever seen. Workers who had waited their whole lives for this moment began their work. On the moon, huge factories that looked like research stations began to change. The peaceful equipment disappeared. War machines took their place. These factories had been built slowly, carefully, over many decades. The galaxy thought they made tools for farming and medicine. They were wrong. General Yoon Ji-hai got the message at her home in the mountains. She was 70 years old but still strong. Everyone thought she had retired from the military. That was not true. For 20 years, she had been preparing for this day. She put on her uniform and went to a hidden base under the mountain. Inside, thousands of soldiers waited. These were not ordinary soldiers. They were the best fighters humanity had ever trained. They had been practicing in secret, learning new ways to fight, waiting for the day they would be needed. Today we remember who we really are, General Yoon told them. In another part of space, Commander Nam Hyun-woo received his orders. He was on a ship that looked like a simple cargo vessel, but when he got the message, the ship changed. Panels slid away to show weapons and armor. The cargo ship became a warship in minutes. Nam Hyun-woo commanded the Ghost Division. His ships could hide from any sensor. They could follow enemies for months without being seen. They were the shadows that other races never noticed. Ghost Division, he said to his crews. Time to show them what we learned while they thought we were hauling boxes. Dr. Kim Tae-ho was back on Earth now. He stood in front of cameras that would broadcast to every human world. He had studied alien races for 30 years. He understood how they thought and what they feared. My fellow humans, he began, for 150 years, we have hidden our true nature. We told ourselves we were peaceful. We told the galaxy we were weak. Today those lies end. On the screen behind him appeared pictures of Earth's animals. Lions hunting zebras. Wolves working together to catch elk. Hawks diving from the sky to catch mice. Every species in this galaxy evolved as prey or predator, Dr. Kim said. They run from danger or they attack it. But humans are different. We evolved as both prey and predator. We learned to hunt animals bigger and stronger than us. We learned to work together like no other species. The pictures changed. Now they showed human hunters from long ago. They showed humans following wounded animals for days across huge distances. They showed humans using tools and traps and teamwork to catch prey that should have been impossible to kill. We are persistence hunters, Dr. Kim continued. When we choose a target, we never stop. We never give up. We follow our prey until it dies of exhaustion. And when we work together, nothing can escape us. More pictures appeared. Humans building cities. Humans making tools. Humans turning sticks and stones into weapons that could kill the largest animals. We are also tool users. We can turn anything into a weapon. A rock becomes a hammer. A stick becomes a spear. A peaceful spaceship becomes an instrument of war. Dr. Kim's voice became harder. The galaxy thinks we chose peace because we were weak. The truth is we chose peace because we were too strong. We knew what would happen if we let ourselves hunt. Now they have forced us to remember. The broadcast went to every human world. In the colonies, families watched and understood. On Earth, children learned the truth about their species. In space, human crews looked at their ships with new eyes. But the aliens were watching too. The Vorthak leaders saw the broadcast on their homeworld. They laughed at Dr. Kim's words. Humans think they scare us with talk of hunting, said Warlord Vextar. He was the leader of the Vorthak military. We will show them what real warriors can do. Vextar ordered his fleets to attack another human research station. It was a small outpost with only 500 people. He thought it would be easy to destroy, like New Busan. Lieutenant Commander Choi Min-ah was at that research station when the Vorthak ships arrived. Her ship, the Soul's Vengeance, was docked there for repairs. It was a small ship with only 50 crew members. Minna had served in the human fleet for 15 years. She was calm and quiet, but her crew knew there was something dangerous about her. She had grown up on a world where humans had to fight wild animals every day. She understood hunting and killing in ways that most humans had forgotten. Captain, said her weapons officer, 17 Vorthak ships are approaching. They're charging weapons. Minna looked at the enemy ships on her screen. They were big and powerful. Her ship was much smaller. Any normal captain would try to run away or call for help. Minna was not normal. All crew to battle stations, she said. Seal the ship, prepare for combat. Ma'am, said her first officer, we're outnumbered 17-1. Shouldn't we retreat? Minna looked at him with cold eyes. The Vorthak killed 50,000 humans at New Busan. They came here to kill 500 more. We don't retreat from child killers. The Vorthak ships opened fire first. Energy beams hit the research station and destroyed several buildings. But they could not find Minna's ship. The Soul's vengeance had activated stealth systems that the galaxy had never seen before. Minna's ship appeared, behind the Vorthak fleet like a ghost. Her weapons were not the simple energy cannons that most ships used. They were human weapons designed for hunting. The first Vorthak ship exploded before its crew knew they were under attack. The second ship tried to turn and fight back. It died, before it could fire a shot. The third ship sent out a distress call. The call was cut short when the ship turned into a ball of fire. In 10 minutes, 17 Vorthak warships became 17 clouds of burning metal. The Soul's vengeance did not have a single scratch on its hull. The research station was saved. The 500 humans were alive, and the galaxy had just seen what one small human ship could do when it stopped pretending to be peaceful. The Galactic News Service reported the battle across the galaxy. They called it impossible and unprecedented. How could one ship destroy 17 enemies? Agent Lim Soo-jin watched the news reports from her office on the council station. She looked like a simple trade representative. She had been working on the station for 10 years, helping with business deals between humans and aliens. But Lim Soo-jin was not a trade representative. She was the head of human intelligence. For decades, she had been placing human agents throughout the galaxy. They worked as traders, teachers, mechanics, and servants. The aliens never suspected that these quiet humans were watching and listening to everything. Begin Phase 2, she sent to her agents. All across the galaxy, humans and alien governments began to activate. They started sending information back to human space. Military plans, fleet movements, political secrets, everything the aliens thought was hidden. When the Galactic Council met to discuss the battle, they found that humans already knew everything they planned to say. Every secret was revealed. Every lie was exposed. The galaxy began to understand that humans had been among them all along, watching and waiting. On the Vorthak homeworld, Warlord Vextar was no longer laughing. His 17 ships were gone, destroyed by one small human vessel. His military advisors told him it was impossible, but the wreckage was real. Send a message to the humans, he ordered. Tell them the Vorthak are not afraid. Tell them we have 1,000 ships for everyone they destroyed. But when his communication officer tried to send the message, something strange happened. Every screen in Vorthak space showed the same thing. The faces of the children who died at New Busan. Their voices played on every channel, crying for their parents. Under the children's voices was a human voice speaking perfect Vorthak language. We remember every face. We remember every voice. We are coming for every one of you. The message played for 1 hour. The Vorthak could not stop it or block it. No matter what they did, the children's faces stayed on their screens. When it finally ended, there was only silence. Across the galaxy, other alien races watched the news and began to worry. The humans they had known for 150 years were changing. The peaceful diplomats were becoming something else, something that remembered how to hunt. Admiral Park So-young called a meeting of all human fleet commanders. They gathered, on Earth, in a room that had been sealed for over a century. On the walls were pictures of human warriors from throughout history, soldiers who had fought in ancient wars, generals who had conquered empires. For 150 years we have been what the galaxy needed us to be, Admiral Park said. We were peacekeepers because the galaxy was not ready for war. We were diplomats because they could not handle soldiers. We were patient because they could not survive our anger. She looked at each commander. These were not the same people who had left Earth weeks ago. They had remembered something that had been sleeping inside them. The galaxy has made its choice, Admiral Park continued. They will not protect human children. They will not punish human murderers. They have told us that human lives do not matter. The Vorthak were desperate. Their secret bases were gone, their computer networks were destroyed, their military plans were in human hands. But they still had one card left to play, and they were desperate enough to use it. Warlord Vextar stood in his command center and looked at the prisoners his soldiers had captured. 23 humans from a transport ship that had been carrying families to a new colony. Men, women, and children who had done nothing wrong except be human. Record this message, Vextar ordered his communication officer. Send it to every Human world. The camera showed the human prisoners tied up and kneeling on the floor. The children were crying. The adults tried to comfort them while Vorthak guards pointed weapons at their heads. Humans, Vextar said into the camera. You think you are clever? You think you are strong, but you are still weak. Watch what happens to your people when you anger the Vorthak. He nodded to his guards. The first prisoner, a young woman named Li Su-jin, screamed as a Vorthak soldier burned her arm with an energy weapon. The smell of burned flesh filled the air. Stop your attacks, Vextar continued. Leave Vorthak space, or we will kill these humans slowly, one piece at a time. You have 1 day to decide. The message was sent across the galaxy. Every human world received it. Every human ship picked up the signal. In homes and offices and military bases, humans watched their innocent people being tortured by alien monsters. On Earth, Admiral Park So-young watched the broadcast in her office. She sat very still and very quiet as she saw Li Su-jin's pain. When the message ended, she closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them and they were like ice. Open a channel, she said to her communication officer. Broadcast to every world in the galaxy. I want everyone to hear this. The camera focused on Admiral Park. She wore her blue uniform with its simple decorations. She looked like a grandmother, not a warrior. But when she spoke, her voice carried the cold certainty of death itself. People of the galaxy, she began. For 150 years you have known humans as peacekeepers. You have seen our patience. You have benefited from our mercy. Today the Vorthak have taught us that these were mistakes. She paused, letting her words sink in. The Vorthak believe they can torture innocent humans to make us afraid. They believe we will abandon justice to save a few lives. They are wrong. Admiral Park stood up. You have seen our diplomacy. You have seen our mercy. You have seen our patience. You call these things human weakness. Today you will see human strength. Her voice got colder. The Vorthak have chosen to cross a line that should never be crossed. They torture innocents. They murder children. They believe fear is stronger than justice. She looked directly into the camera. Let me explain something about humans. We do not negotiate with child killers. We do not bargain with torturers. We do not show mercy to those who show none. Admiral Park's next words would be remembered for 1,000 years. You have taught us that diplomacy is weakness. Very well. Let us show you what strength looks like. The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched their screens in silence. Something had changed in the Admiral's voice, something that made even brave aliens feel afraid. Fleet Admiral Bayek Chan-ho received his orders 1 hour later. They were very simple, no survivors. Baek Chan-ho was 60 years old and had commanded ships for 40 years. He had never wanted to see this day, but he had prepared for it his whole life. In hidden shipyards across human space, 300 warships waited for his command. These were not the ships the galaxy knew. They were not exploration vessels converted for war. They were weapons of destruction, built in secret over decades. They were ships designed for only one purpose: to remove threats to humanity permanently. The largest ship was called the Indomitable Spirit. It was 5 kilometers long and carried weapons that no alien had ever seen. Captain Shin Da-eun commanded this ship. She was a quiet woman who had lost her own family to alien raiders 20 years ago. Today she would have her revenge for all the humans who had died. All ships report ready, said her first officer. Good, Captain Shin said. Set course for Vorthak space, maximum speed. The human fleet moved through hyperspace faster than any alien ship could travel. Human technology had been hidden for over a century. While other races had been fighting small wars with each other, humans had been advancing their science in secret. The Vorthak detected the human fleet when it was still a day away from their homeworld. Their sensors showed 300 ships approaching. Warlord Vextar laughed when he heard the numbers. Only 300 ships, he said. We have 2,000 vessels defending our homeworld. The humans are fools. But his military advisors were not laughing. They had studied the sensor readings more carefully. "Sir," said General Morkex, "these are not normal human ships. They're much larger than anything we've seen before. And their energy signatures are unusual." "What do you mean, unusual?" "The power readings are off our charts, sir. Each human ship is generating more energy than one of our space stations." Vextar looked at the readings himself. His confidence began to fade. "How is this possible?" "We don't know, sir, but I recommend we prepare for a difficult battle." The two fleets met in empty space between stars. 2,000 Vorthak warships faced 300 human vessels. To any observer, it looked like the humans were outnumbered and doomed. Captain Shindaon looked at the enemy fleet on her screen. So many ships, so many weapons pointed at her people. In the old days, she might have tried to negotiate, but the old days were over. "All ships," she said into her radio. "You see before you the fleet that protects child killers. You see the ships that guard torturers. Today, we remove them from the universe." She turned to her weapons officer. "Fire." The indomitable Spirit's main gun fired once. A beam of pure energy reached across space and touched a Vorthak battleship. The alien vessel didn't explode. It simply stopped existing. One moment it was there. The next moment there was empty space where it had been. All along the human battle line, similar weapons fired. Vorthak ships vanished as if they had never existed. In the first 30 seconds of battle, 200 enemy vessels were destroyed. The Vorthak fleet tried to return fire, but their weapons could not penetrate human shields. Energy beams that could destroy planets bounced off human ships like rain off a roof. "This is impossible," Warlord Vextar screamed from his flagship. "How can they have such powerful weapons?" His answer came when Captain Shin's voice reached his ship on an open channel. "You wanted to see human technology. For 150 years we built ships for peace. Today, you see ships built for war." The human fleet moved through the Vorthak formation like sharks through a school of fish. Every shot was perfect, every target was destroyed. The aliens had more ships, but they might as well have been throwing rocks at mountains. In 1 hour, the entire Vorthak fleet was gone. 2,000 ships reduced to glowing particles in space. Not one human vessel was even scratched. But the space battle was only the beginning. Colonel Oh Seong-min commanded the human ground forces that landed on the Vorthak homeworld. His soldiers were not there to conquer territory. They were there to dismantle the Vorthak war machine completely. "Remember," Colonel Oh told his troops as they landed, "we are not here to harm civilians. We are here to make sure the Vorthak can never again threaten human children." The human soldiers moved across the planet with frightening efficiency. They ignored the cities where Vorthak families lived. Instead, they went straight for military bases, weapon factories, and government buildings. Every Vorthak military installation was destroyed. Every weapons factory was torn down. Every government computer was wiped clean. The humans worked with the precision of surgeons, cutting out only the parts that could threaten others. When Vorthak soldiers tried to fight back, they discovered that human ground troops were just as advanced as human ships. Human armor could stop any weapon the Vorthak had. Human weapons could cut through any Vorthak defense. The battle for the Vorthak homeworld lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Vorthak military no longer existed. Their government no longer existed. Their ability to make war no longer existed. But their people were still alive. Warlord Vextar was captured trying to escape in a small ship. Colonel O brought him to a landing field where human transports were waiting. "You won," Vextar said bitterly. "Are you going to execute me now?" Colonel O looked at the alien warrior who had ordered the deaths of so many innocents. "Execution would be too quick," he said. "You're going to live long enough to understand what you've done." "What do you mean?" "You're going to spend the rest of your life learning to be better than you are," Colonel O said. "All Vorthak will. Your children will grow up learning human values. They will learn that violence has consequences. They will learn that the strong must protect the weak, not prey on them." Vextar's eyes widened in horror. "You're going to brainwash our children? We're going to educate them," Colonel O corrected. "Something your people forgot to do. Across the galaxy, The news of the Vorthak defeat spread like wildfire. In 6 hours, the most feared military race in the galaxy had been completely destroyed. By humans they had thought were weak. But what terrified other aliens most was not the speed of the human victory. It was the fact that the Vorthak thought they were safe in their hidden bases. They had 14 secret locations scattered across the galaxy. Each base was protected by powerful shields and guarded by hundreds of warships. They had built these bases over many years, hiding them in asteroid fields and dead star systems where no one would think to look. They were wrong about being safe. General Yoon Ji-hee stood in the war room on Earth and looked at a map of the galaxy. Red dots showed where each Vorthak base was located. Her intelligence officers had found them all in just 2 weeks. "How did we find them so fast?" asked one of her young officers. "We didn't just find them," General Yoon said with a cold smile. "We've been watching them build these bases for 20 years. We knew where every secret Vorthak facility was before they finished building them." The young officer looked confused. "But why didn't we tell the Galactic Council?" "Because the Council would have wanted to negotiate," General Yoon replied. "Humans don't negotiate with child killers. We hunt them." She turned to her communications officer. "Contact Commander Nam Hyun-woo. Tell him the hunt begins now." Commander Nam Hyun-woo received the message while his ship floated in the darkness between stars. The Ghost Division had been tracking Vorthak movements for months, invisible to their sensors. His ships looked like empty space to enemy equipment, but they were really the most advanced stealth vessels humanity had ever built. "All ghost ships," Nam Hyun-woo said into his radio. "Operation Persistent Hunt is now active. Remember the faces of New Busan. Remember the voices of the children. Today we show the galaxy what happens when humans hunt." Captain Jang Woo-bin commanded the stealth ship Silent Thunder. His mission was different from the others. While most ghost ships would attack Vorthak bases, Jang Woo-bin had a special target: the Vorthak Command Center on Xerion Prime. Xerion Prime was the most heavily defended planet in Vorthak space. Hundreds of ships guarded it. Massive defense stations surrounded it. The planet's surface was covered with military bases and weapon factories, but Jang Woo-bin's ship could become invisible to any scanner. The Silent Thunder moved through the eye. Vorthak defenses like a ghost walking through walls. No one saw it coming. No one knew it was there. "Approaching the planet now," reported his pilot. "All stealth systems active. We are completely invisible." Jang Woo-bin smiled. "Good. Let's remind these murderers that humans never forget." His ship landed secretly on Xerion Prime. A team of human special forces, led by Major An Yerim, left the ship and entered the planet's main communication center. They moved like shadows, taking out guards without making a sound. Major An Yerim was small and quiet, but she was one of the deadliest soldiers humanity had ever trained. She had studied every form of combat known to humans. She could kill, with her hands, with weapons, or with tools she found lying around. "Communication center secured," she reported to Jang Woo-bin, ready to broadcast. "Do it," Jang Woo-bin said. Every screen in Vorthak space suddenly showed the same image: the children of New Busan crying for their parents as Vorthak soldiers murdered them. But this time, the broadcast was different. This time, under the children's voices was something else. It was the sound of Vorthak soldiers screaming. Tech specialist Ko Jin-soo had taken the audio from security cameras in 12 different Vorthak bases. He had recorded the sounds of Vorthak warriors crying in fear as human special forces attacked them. He mixed these sounds with the voices of the dead children. The message that played across Vorthak space was simple: "We remember every voice. We are coming for every one of you. Your soldiers scream just like our children did." On their homeworld, Vorthak leaders watched the broadcast in growing terror. How had humans gotten security footage from their secret bases? How had they broken into their communication systems? Warlord Vextar called an emergency meeting. "This is impossible," he shouted at his generals. "Our bases are secret. Our communications are secure." His intelligence chief, a nervous Vorthak named Kilrex, brought bad news. "Sir, we've lost contact with the base on Kronos Station, also the facility on Mining World 7, and the weapons depot near the Spiral Nebula." "Lost contact how?" Vextar demanded. We don't know, sir. The bases just stopped responding. When we sent ships to investigate, we found nothing. Nothing? The bases were gone, sir. Not destroyed. Gone. As if they had never existed. What Kilrex didn't know was that Major Anya Rim had led simultaneous attacks on 12 Vorthak bases. In a single night, her Special Forces teams had arrived at each base at exactly the same time. Despite being scattered across 8 different star systems, the attacks were not meant to destroy the bases. They were meant to send a message. Every Vorthak commander at those bases woke up to find a human soldier standing next to their bed, not attacking, just standing there. On their pillow was a small knife and a note written in perfect Vorthak language. Next time, we won't wake you first. The human soldiers vanished as quietly as they had come. When the Vorthak commanders checked their security systems, they found no record of anyone entering their rooms. It was as if the humans had appeared from thin air. But the knife was real. The note was real. And every Vorthak commander now knew that humans could reach them anywhere, anytime. Agent Lim Soo-jin watched the Vorthak panic from her office on the council station. For years, she had been placing human agents throughout the galaxy. These agents had learned alien languages perfectly. They had studied alien cultures until they could blend in completely. Some had been undercover for so long that alien governments trusted them with their deepest secrets. Phase 3 is ready, she reported to Admiral Park So-young. Our people are in position everywhere. The galaxy was about to learn the most terrifying truth about humans. They were everywhere. In the Vorthak government, a trusted advisor named Zur-Kill had worked for the military council for 8 years. Everyone thought he was a loyal Vorthak, who had been born on a colony world. His gray skin and red eyes looked exactly like any other Vorthak. But Zur-Kill was actually a human named Park Min-seok. Surgery and genetic modification had changed his appearance completely. For 8 years he had sat in Vorthak military meetings and learned their plans. Everything the Vorthak thought was secret, the humans already knew. On the day of the attacks, Park Min-seok sent a final message to Human Command. It contained the location of every Vorthak ship, every weapon storage facility, and every military leader. Then he activated a device that would destroy all Vorthak military computers. The Vorthak military lost everything in 1 second. All their maps, all their communication codes, all their strategic plans gone. They were blind and deaf, stumbling in the dark while humans watched their every move. This is impossible, Warlord Vextar screamed as his computers died around him. How did they do this? His question was answered when Park Min-seok stood up in the council chamber and pulled off his false face. Under the Vorthak features was a human man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Because we've been here all along, Park Min-seok said in perfect human language, watching you, learning from you, waiting for the day you would show your true nature. The Vorthak guards raised their weapons, but Park Min-seok was already gone. He vanished into the chaos as alarms screamed throughout their capital city. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Trusted aliens revealed themselves to be humans. Government officials, military officers, trade representatives, even servants and janitors. Humans had been everywhere, for decades, invisible and patient. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of alien races gathered to discuss the human threat. But when they tried to access their secure communication networks, they found that humans were already there too. Every secret the aliens had thought was safe was now in human hands. Military plans, trade agreements, political schemes. The humans knew everything. Captain Song Jae-wook commanded a human patrol ship near Vorthak space. His mission was to watch for any Vorthak ships trying to escape the hunt. When his sensors detected a small Vorthak vessel fleeing toward neutral space, he moved to intercept. The Vorthak ship was carrying civilians, families of Vorthak military officers trying to escape the war. When Song Jae-wook hailed them, the Vorthak captain begged for mercy. "Please," the alien said. "We are not warriors. We are just families with children." Song Jae-wook looked at the frightened alien faces on his screen. He saw Vorthak children holding their parents' hands just like human children had held their parents' hands at New Busan. "You may go," he said. "But know this. Your warriors chose to make this war when they murdered our children. If you want it to end, you must make them stop." The Vorthak ship fled into neutral space. Behind it, Song Jae-wook's patrol continued. He was not hunting civilians. Humans did not make war on the innocent. But any Vorthak soldier who tried to run would find that humans had very long memories and even longer reach. General Yoon Ji-hee received reports from across the galaxy. 12 Vorthak bases had been infiltrated. Their computer networks were destroyed. Their secret locations were revealed. Their military was in chaos. But this was only the beginning. "Sir," said her aide, "the Ghost Division reports they have located the main Vorthak fleet. Commander Nam Hyun-woo requests permission to engage." General Yoon looked at the tactical display. The Vorthak syndicate no longer existed. Their homeworld was quiet now. Their warships were gone. Their weapons were destroyed. But their people were still alive, and that confused many aliens who watched from across the galaxy. President Han Mi-young stood in the Human Administration Building on the former Vorthak homeworld. Through the windows, she could see Vorthak families walking to schools where their children learned new lessons. These children were learning about cooperation instead of conquest. They were learning about protecting the weak instead of destroying them. "How long will this take?" asked the Vorthak elder who had been chosen to help with the transition. His name was Velthor, and he had been a teacher before the war. Unlike the warriors, he understood that his people had made terrible mistakes. "A generation, maybe 2, President Han said kindly. "Your children will grow up differently than you did. They will learn that strength comes from building, not destroying. Their children will be even better." Velthor looked worried. "And if some of our people refuse to change?" President Han's expression became harder. "Then they will learn why change is necessary. We have been very patient with teachers. We are much less patient with those who refuse to learn." Across the galaxy, other alien races watched the transformation of the Vorthak with growing fear. The humans had not destroyed their enemies. They had absorbed them, changed them, made them into something new. It was more terrifying than simple conquest because it was so complete. The Galactic Council called for an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered to discuss what they called the human problem. But when they arrived at the council station, they found that everything had changed. Ambassador Kang Do-hyun sat in the center chair where the council president used to sit. He was a middle-aged human with gray hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple black suit instead of the fancy robes that alien diplomats preferred. "Where is President Zethra?" demanded the representative from the Crystalline Empire. "Former President Zethra has retired," Ambassador Kang said politely. "The council has elected new leadership." "The council never voted," protested the delegate from the Hive Worlds. Ambassador Kang smiled. It was not a mean smile, but it was not entirely friendly either. "The council voted last week. You must not have received the message. Perhaps your communication systems were having problems." The aliens looked around the chamber nervously. They were beginning to understand that things had changed while they were not paying attention. "What gives humans the right to lead the council?" asked the representative from the Trading Federation. "The same thing that gave anyone else the right," Ambassador Kang replied. "The ability to enforce decisions. For 150 years, you relied on human ships to keep peace. Now you will rely on human wisdom to maintain order." He stood up and activated a holographic display. It showed the galaxy with all its star systems and trade routes. Human ships were marked in blue dots. The aliens were shocked to see how many blue dots there were. "This is the new reality," Ambassador Kang explained. "Human patrol ships now guard every major trade route. Human bases protect every important system. Human agents monitor every significant government." The display zoomed in to show individual star systems. In each one, human ships outnumbered local forces by large margins. "This is impossible," whispered the delegate from the Spiral Alliance. "Where did all these ships come from?" "We built them," Ambassador Kang said simply. "While you were fighting each other over small disputes, We were preparing for the day when peace would need to be enforced rather than negotiated. He walked around the chamber, looking at each alien representative. For 150 years you asked us to be your peacekeepers. We accepted that role because we believed you wanted to learn how to keep peace yourselves. We were wrong. The holographic display changed to show crime statistics. Piracy was down 90%. Illegal weapons trading had almost stopped. Border disputes had ended. These are the results of human enforcement, Ambassador Kang continued. In 6 months, we have achieved more peace than the Council managed in 50 years. But what about our sovereignty? Demanded the Hive World's delegate. What about our right to govern ourselves? Ambassador Kang's expression became colder. You have the right to govern yourselves responsibly. If you choose to govern irresponsibly, then you forfeit that right. He activated another display. This one showed the new galactic charter that was being implemented across all human-controlled space. Every species that wishes to remain in the Federation must accept these terms, he said. Human oversight of military forces, human monitoring of government decisions, human intervention when necessary to prevent conflicts. And if we refuse? Asked the Crystalline Empire representative. Then you are free to leave human space and govern yourselves however you wish, Ambassador Kang said. But you will not be permitted to return, and you will not be permitted to threaten those who choose to stay. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Dozens of aliens shouted protests and demands, but Ambassador Kang simply sat down and waited for them to finish. When the noise died down, he spoke again. You seem to think this is a negotiation. It is not. This is an explanation of how things work now. You may accept these terms or you may leave. Those are your only choices. Captain Song Jae-wook commanded the peacekeeping vessel. Never again. As it patrolled the outer rim of human space. His ship was smaller than the great warships that had destroyed the Vorthak fleet, but it was still more powerful than anything the aliens had seen before the war. His sensors detected a group of ships, approaching from outside the galaxy, pirates from the void spaces between galaxies coming to raid the peaceful worlds inside. In the old days, these raiders had been a constant problem. Local governments were too weak to stop them, and the Council was too slow to respond. Unknown ships, Song Jae-wook broadcast. You are entering human-protected space. State your intentions. The pirate leader's response was full of laughter and threats. Human-protected space? Humans are weak diplomats. We take what we want. Song Jae-wook sighed. Even after 6 months, some criminals still didn't understand the new reality. Unknown ships, he said again. You have 30 seconds to reverse course and leave this space. This is your only warning. More laughter from the pirates. Or what, human? You will write us a strongly worded letter? Song Jae-wook looked at his weapons, officer, and nodded. The Never Again fired once. The pirate flagship simply vanished as if it had never existed. Unknown ships, Song Jae-wook said to the remaining pirates. You now have 15 seconds to leave this space. The remaining pirate ships turned around so fast that some of their crews were injured by the sudden acceleration. They fled back into the void, broadcasting warnings to other raiders. Stay away from human space. Word spread quickly among the criminal underworld. The humans were no longer patient peacekeepers who tried to arrest criminals for trial. They were hunters who removed threats permanently. Piracy in human space dropped to 0 within 3 months. On Earth, General Yoon Ji-hai met with the commanders of the human military. They gathered in the same war room where she had planned, the destruction of the Vorthak Syndicate, but now they were planning something different, how to maintain peace permanently. Status report, she requested. All major criminal organizations have been eliminated or absorbed, reported Admiral Park So-young. Piracy is essentially extinct. Weapons smuggling has stopped completely. What about resistance movements? General Yoon asked. There are some groups on 12 worlds that oppose human authority, reported Commander Nam Hyun-woo. But they're mostly holding protest meetings and writing angry letters. No actual violence. Keep monitoring them, General Yoon said. If they remain peaceful, Leave them alone. If they turn violent, respond appropriately. She looked around the room at her officers. These were the people who had planned and executed the most successful military campaign in galactic history. But now their job was to make sure such campaigns never became necessary again. Remember, she said, we didn't fight the Vorthak to become conquerors. We fought them to make conquest impossible. Our goal is not to rule the galaxy. Our goal is to make sure no one else can rule it through force. Dr. Kim Tae-ho had become the head of human cultural relations. His job was to help alien species understand their new place in the galaxy. He traveled from world to world, explaining human values and expectations. On the planet Zarion Prime, which had once been the center of Vorthak military power, he spoke to a gathering of local leaders. Many of you are afraid, he said. You think humans will treat you the way the Vorthak treated others. You are wrong. He showed them images of human history, pictures of humans helping each other during disasters, humans sharing food with hungry strangers, humans protecting the weak from the strong. This is who we really are, Dr. Kim explained. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We share with those who have less than us. We build up rather than tear down. A young Vorthak woman raised her hand. Her name was Velsara, and she had been a soldier before the war ended. But you destroyed our entire military. You removed our government. How is that building up? Dr. Kim nodded. Because your military existed to hurt others. Your government existed to support that military.